Youngpreneurs Podcast, episode number 156 with your host, Victor Ahipenny. What's up, world? Another day, another podcast. And today I have Corinna Essa on the show, and she has a pretty interesting story. She was made redundant 5 times by the time she was in her mid-20s working in the television industry, and she needed a change, and she found this world of social media, and she dived in head first and became one of the go-to authorities in this space, and since then has spoken and taught around the world on how you can effectively use social media to boost and grow your business and make real dollar returns. And we delve into all of this, what people are doing right, what people are doing wrong, and how they can improve it, as well as her amazing and inspiring story. So if you enjoyed her story, jump over to iTunes and leave a rating and a review. Tell everyone about how awesome this show is, and make sure you subscribe on your podcast player so you don't miss a single episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, jump over to passiveincomeyoung.com where you can grab all the show notes, all the links we talked about, and you can also connect with Corinna, and you can also find our 4-part video series on how you can start a online business for $0 down to get you started and get some revenue in the door. So grab a pen and paper if you want to lift your social media game, and in the meantime, keep living life on your own terms. You're listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast, the number one resource online for under 35-year-olds, where we chat twice a week to the most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. We have it all. If you're looking for inspiration, guidance, or actionable tips to help you transition from that job into a business, or if you're ready to take that business to a whole new level, then this is the place to be. Get ready to live life on your own terms. Welcome to another episode of the Youngpreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Victor Ahipenny. It's super stoked to have you here. As always, you could be anywhere, but you're choosing to listen to us right now. And by us, I mean my awesome guest who lives down the road from me in Australia on the beautiful sunny Gold Coast, Corinna Essa, and she is founder of Social Media Worldwide. Welcome to the show, Corinna.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. Now, I love to give all the budding young entrepreneurs out there, all those people working in the 9 to 5 at the moment, I love to give them a bit of a background on, I guess, where you came from, what growing up was like, and was entrepreneurship always on the cards for you? As I know a lot of people tell themselves these stories on on why they can't necessarily do things, but I like to kind of start off with going and showing people that we are people. So what did growing up look like for you?
Well, look, both my parents were very hardworking. My father was a journalist, so he was a freelancer, not really an entrepreneur, but he did start some projects of his own, but he was mainly a freelancer. He had a few clients and a few papers he would write for. He did start some businesses of his own, but that was never really anything successful. Unfortunately, and my mother was at first she was a stay-at-home mom, and then she became a French teacher. So yeah, but my parents, I guess, worked very hard. I can't say that they showed me how to be an entrepreneur or push me to do that. In fact, they just wanted me to study, have good grades at school, study, have a degree, and then get a high-paying job and move up the corporate ladder, I guess. But they never had that sort of ambition for me, and I didn't have that sort of ambition for myself either. I just I wanted to be a television producer. I knew that since I was about 14 or 15 years old. I studied television production, and then I worked for free for some companies in order to get a foot in the industry, and became a production assistant. Then I became an assistant producer, and then I lost my job. So I kind of had to do something about it. At the time when I lost my job, it was right in the middle of the financial crisis. So it was 2009, and all the companies were downsizing. It was where I was living. I was living in Greece at the time. Not only were all the companies downsizing, no one was hiring, and you couldn't even get a job as a waitress. So things were looking pretty grim for me. And I still had bills to pay and rent to pay, and so when that happened to me, the day I lost my job, I knew that I wasn't going to find anything, at least not soon enough. So I called my brother, who was a business owner, had multiple internet businesses, and for many years he used to tell me to just have my own business, and I just couldn't picture myself doing what he was doing. I thought I wasn't qualified enough, and it didn't interest me. It wasn't, it didn't feel like my life's mission.
Yep.
But when I lost my job, I just thought, well, I'll give it a go. I'll just give it a go. I'll just call him and ask him if he's got a job for me. So that's the first thing I asked him. Was like, is there anything I can do for you, or what do you think I should do? And he said, well, just come to one of my seminars where I'll teach internet marketing and learn and do something. And so I went there reluctantly because I just did not want to do that, but I just had no choice. And I learned a few strategies at that seminar. There were all sorts of different speakers sharing different strategies, and the strategy that appealed to me at the time was affiliate marketing on Twitter. I didn't have my own product, so I thought affiliate marketing, which is the process of selling other people's products for commission. I thought, well, that sounds easy. I don't need to create my own product, which is great, and Twitter's free to join, so I'll just do that. And I just worked 200% on that. I guess I learned everything there was to learn, and rinse and repeat, and within 3 weeks, it just replaced my full-time income thanks to Twitter. So that's really, in a nutshell, how I got started.
It's amazing, and like the power of the online world, which I guess to say someone like the past version of you when you're working in an industry where time is traded for money, and then there's this exponential power of jumping on Twitter and being able to uh, replace your income in 3 weeks is almost not, I wouldn't say on autopilot, but with highly leverageable powers is a pretty big shift in what's possible. Did that get you hooked from there, or did you still need, was it kind of just a means to an end at that stage?
No, at that point there was no going back. Like I started having the taste of not having a boss, not having to drive to work, and it just interested me. I just had complete control of my income, and I think I got hooked by that, having control that no one could, um, the I
Yeah.
guess no one had control over my financial future or work. No one could say one day, well, that's it, you don't have any work. And I think I got addicted to that. I got addicted to the freedom it gave me more than the money it gave me.
And so, what did you do after that? Was it a matter of leveraging up what you were doing affiliate marketing wise, or like did you learn more and try other areas in the same niche, or did you start creating your own products and taking a bigger chunk of the pie?
Well, you see, during the whole process, my brother was my mentor. He always told me what the next step was. So I started, I started making some good money from affiliate marketing, and that was going well. And I asked him, what's the next step? What should I be doing? Should I keep on doing this? And he said, the key really is to build your mailing list. You have to build your mailing list. And so that's what I did. I didn't promote affiliate products as heavily as I was initially, and instead I started promoting free offers where I would capture people's names and emails. And on the thank you page, I would upsell to an affiliate product. So I would put an affiliate banner on the thank you page where after people opted in to something for free, and I would upsell like that. So I was still building my list, but also monetizing it, monetizing the whole process. So I started doing that. So I had, I don't know, about 10, 15 different free reports that I was promoting to build a list. And so I quickly built a list of about 3,000 people. So that was pretty quick. And then I studied StephenEssa's course, who then 9 months later became my husband. But I didn't know that at that stage when I was studying the course. He teaches people how to sell on webinars. So I studied his course because my brother had bought his course, and so I gave it to me and I studied it. And I hadn't met him yet. And little did I know that I was going to marry him 9 months later. And I started his course, and I decided that I was going to sell on a webinar my own product, a $997 product called Twitter Mastery. It was all about how to make a full-time living thanks to affiliate marketing on Twitter. And That went really well. My first webinar, which I thought was a disaster. I mean, I cringed just listening at it. I was that bad. But it did pretty well. I sold 16 units at $1,000, so that was really good. I mean, I made in about 90 minutes of that webinar what I would have made a year and a half working in television full time. So that was pretty significant for me. That was a pretty significant win. And then so I started selling that product, and then I got invited to speak at conferences. So I spoke at the Millionaire Bootcamp for Women that was happening in London, so as a guest speaker. And then I spoke at different conferences, big and small, and that webinar, I guess, started my speaking career. And then one thing led to another. People were asking me if I had a done for you service, if I could help them with their Twitter marketing, if I could do it for them. So I started taking a few clients where I would help them with their Twitter marketing. At the time, the really most popular thing was for people to grow a following. So I helped them grow a following, and then I got more and more clients, and I had people come to me asking me for Facebook help, and then Pinterest, and then Google Plus, and then Instagram. And I hired someone part time to help me out. That person became full time. That person started hiring people. So
Hmm.
we're quite a big team now, and it's become I guess a worldwide social media agency. Hence the
And
name Social Media Worldwide.
yeah, makes sense. With what you focus on now, is there like, is there still the space to grow with Twitter and say, I mean, things like Twitter, they're a difficult beast, but it's also something that a lot of people don't focus enough time on because they hear the buzzwords of Facebook, and they just hear Facebook ads, Facebook
Mhm.
followings and things like that. Yeah, whereas like I see stats on Pinterest, and if you've got a female demographic, like you should be all over Pinterest.
Mhm.
Yeah, like anything. Whereas a lot of my demographic don't lie there, so I don't necessarily go there. And then Facebook and Instagram seem to be the two big buzzwords. But do you still find much traction with Twitter?
Well, Twitter has changed a lot, I must say. It's become very noisy. It was always noisy just because of the nature of Twitter.
Yeah.
But it's just become very noisy where tweets only have a lifespan of a few seconds. So unless you're tweeting all the time,
Mm.
every minute, I guess, or every few seconds, you can't really benefit much from Twitter. You can't get a lot of traffic from Twitter unless you have a huge following. But the people on Twitter who have huge followings are the Justin Biebers, the Donald
Yeah.
Trump, all that. So um, Twitter is more now like a one-on-one online SMS platform where you can send messages to pretty much anyone.
Mm.
It's like having a huge phone book. You can just, if you put someone's username in your tweet, and that's just, you can just have a one-on-one conversation with anyone really on Twitter. You can have a one-on-one conversation with Donald Trump if you want.
Yeah.
Um, so
Unfortunately.
So, so I think that Twitter has changed significantly. It used to be a traffic tool. Now I think it's more for for networking one on one. It's changed
Mm.
considerably. It's really hard to stand out from the noise with just a few tweets from time to time. That wouldn't do the job. But you can get in touch with pretty much anyone. Most people are on Twitter, so you can. It's just a question of sending a tweet to someone, including their username, mentioning them basically in your tweet in order to start a conversation. So I think that Twitter is more of an online SMS platform now.
Yeah, and I think with the things of automated schedulers like Hootsuite and Buffer, and then automated direct messaging things, it's kind of it's a lot harder to, unless you're like throw like the tweets like you were saying out there. Whereas a lot of these automated services are kind of taking the shine off a personal interaction on Twitter.
Absolutely, and I always tell people to try and avoid automation as much as possible. People forget that social media is meant to be social.
Mm.
And so people don't want to speak to robots, and it can be a one-way conversational channel where it's one way. I log in or I schedule my messages and I log out, and I don't see the feedback. I don't interact with people. I don't continue conversations or initiate conversations. So although it can be really handy, these scheduling tools and automation tools, it's not really the only thing you should be doing on social media. It's only maybe, let's say, 10%. When
Yeah.
you really want to publish something and you just don't have time, then you can schedule something.
So from a services point of view, what does your company do now? Is it more done for you? Is it done, or is it training packages, or where do you sit in that space now?
Well, it's mainly 80% done for you because obviously people are so time poor. And yes, there's automation tools, but obviously automation tools, um, you know, they won't do your social media the right way.
Yep.
They only do what you tell them to do. So it's 80% done for you. So we grow people's audience. We start conversations, continue conversations. We monitor comments. We publish content. So we do all of that, and nothing really is automated. We don't use any automation tools. Everything is done manually.
Yep. And with that, are you mainly in the organic space? Are you doing paid marketing as well? Are you paying to play with a lot of these pages, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't really have a choice now
Yeah.
unless you come pay to play. So nothing much happens, especially on Facebook, if you don't have a budget. Like the organic reach is so low, you might as well not do anything if you don't have a budget for it. I always tell people, if you don't have a marketing budget, just don't have a Facebook page. You won't see anything happening, at least not fast enough.
Mm.
So yeah, of course, you kind of have to include that in the mix. You have to include paid advertising.
And so if you were talking, like, the audience out there that's listening, they're going, okay, there's so many different platforms now. Like I was saying before, Facebook and Instagram seem to be the ones that are floating to the top at the moment, for the majority of people. How would people decide where to put their marketing budget, if they're out there looking to do it now? Is it industry dependent, or is there any tips or tricks that you would give, to people out there on where they can focus their time and energy and money?
Well, I mean, Facebook ads would be the obvious choice for me, just because it's just such a good advertising platform. It's just the targeting options are just amazing, and just the sheer volume of people on Facebook. We're talking 2 billion people, which is much more than any other social network. So if you're going to pay for advertising, you're going to reach your target audience. Whereas with other social networks, you might not have that reach. Um, However, Pinterest is very, very good if you're in the arts and crafts industry, and something targeted at women. You're in an industry targeted at women, and that would do really well. I know that, for example, for the e-commerce space, anything to do with makeup does really well on Pinterest, or anything to do with fashion for women does really well. So I wouldn't ignore that. It's both. I guess it's also the platform, but it's also what industry you're in that plays a big role. But I think the obvious choice at first is Facebook, because you know that no matter what, you'll find your audience there. With 2 billion people on Facebook, you're bound to find your target audience.
Yeah. And so with people out there, because I mean, end of the day, with done for you products, people will realize how much they don't know, with online marketing, and then they're gonna come running to you and go, hey, can you please run this? But so people don't burn their whole bankroll, and they get some ROI themselves before they realize that, hey, this is better suited to the experts. What are some tips for people when they're setting up Facebook campaigns? Like, not necessarily the ins and outs of the campaign, but some things that you see people lose a lot of money quickly, because I know there's a lot of ways that people can lose a lot of money, but what are some of the ones that you would give out to people out there wanting to kind of get the most bang for their buck?
Yeah, I think something that people don't realize is that cold traffic doesn't buy. So what people do is they just go and sell products. They try and sell products directly from Facebook ads, and Facebook will spend your budget no matter what, whether you're making sales or not. And so that's really tricky. I tell people all the time, cold traffic doesn't buy. So if you're it's the first time you're targeting a new audience, say your new business or your new Facebook page, you've never been on Facebook and you're targeting, yes, your target market, but they don't really know you, they're not going to buy. It doesn't really happen like that. People don't see something on Facebook and just buy. It doesn't happen in a linear process. And so people spend a lot of money until they figure that out.
Mm.
So what I tell people is that instead they should use Facebook to build a list, and then sell through email marketing, because it's going to cost you less to make sales than if you're trying to make sales directly from Facebook ads. So use Facebook ads, first of all, to increase your brand awareness so people will kind of know, like, and trust you. So you're warming them up, give them great content, advertise content that's not gated, that doesn't have a gate for them to submit their name and email, and offer just great education videos, etc., and retarget the people who consume your content. Retarget them, asking them to maybe sign up to your newsletter or something like that, where you can capture the name and email, and then perform email marketing in order to sell products. It's going to be much cheaper for you to sell products through email marketing than it is through Facebook ads. So I know it's a bit full circle, and people would rather go for the kill straight away.
Hmm.
But when you go for that kill straight away, you end up losing a lot of money and not making any sales as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before on the show. It's like proposing on the first date. Like,
Yeah.
it's what so many people try and do. They're like, and I mean, I've been guilty in the past, like sign up for my webinar, and people are like, who are you? Why would I sign up for your webinar? Like, why would I sign up for, why would I buy, people aren't going to buy $1,000 product off you, or a $500 product, or even probably $100 product off you, unless, they've begun to know, like, and trust you. And what I think a lot of people out there don't realize is, yes, you spend that money up front initially for either their email or even just putting an article in front of them to making them problem aware, and then you can take them through that journey. And then on the back end, when you do try and sell them a high ticket item, or a service, or whatever it is, that the people who have made it through to that back end of the funnel, you're going to get so many more conversions and of your ideal client, not of people that you're hoping will say yes to the proposal on the first date, which is same thing. You're never going to walk into a car yard and just go, oh yep, I want to buy that car because it's on your car yard. And people think it works differently off online. But if I get 12 emails from you, Corinna, and they warm you up, I get to know who you are, I get to know your story about how you transitioned from this and that. I go, oh, I can relate to that now. I know this person a bit more, I like them, and then I see some results and maybe some testimonials, and all the normal things, and I go, okay, this is now for me. And it's cost you in the overall scheme basically nothing to send the emails, apart from maybe a monthly hosting fee or whatever. It's free pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. And sadly, a lot of people don't have either the time or the budget to build an audience and warm up the audience. They have to go straight for the kill because they need sort of instant return on investment. I get that. I was the same. I mean, I didn't have a job and I had bills to pay. It had to work. I had to go for the kill. And so I had to learn that the hard way. It was the only way for me to learn, is to fall flat on my face and realize that really I should spend time and money building an audience, warming up that audience, and giving value and value and value, because then sales happen on their own. Then it will become easier to sell anything to them.
Yeah, and I mean, you were fortunate, but I won't use the word lucky. Like, when you first jumped into the Twitter space, even the Facebook space back then, the organic reach was awesome. But I mean, the same thing was with Instagram, I don't know, 12 months ago, probably 12 to 18 months ago, organic reach was huge. So it was just, it's just a matter of taking those opportunities. And if they dry up, then you pay to play, and all of those platforms are there to make a dollar themselves. So if you want to get in front of people, you've got to be willing to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, the space, the social media space was so different at the time. I mean, we're talking 5, 6 years ago, more than that actually. And yeah, there was no such thing as pay to play. So everything was free, and everyone would see your post if you publish something. So it was, happy days. But then again, now it's even more powerful because if you have a budget, you can instantly build an audience fast, build
Mm,
a list fast. You don't have to rely on organic growth, which can be quite slow. So yeah, we've lost organic reach, I guess, but we've won in a way. We've won, paid advertising, which didn't exist when I first started.
yeah, and I mean, realistically, if there's going to be ads, like you can choose to watch TV and I can get some, you know, salon level shampoo ad targeted at me from TV, which I'm never going to buy shampoo, versus jumping on Facebook and I've been retargeted from someone's website and I'm getting something chucked in front of me that's perfect for what I want or perfect for whatever. And yeah, it may make me buy something that I wasn't planning on buying, but it's at least it's something that you're like, oh, this is relevant. I'm going to stay on and people, I think a lot of people don't realize that as well. Facebook want people to stay on Facebook. They want people to see relevant things that make them, go further into the rabbit hole of social media, of Facebook, of any platform really. But if you start realizing that you put the right thing in front of the right people, and Facebook's going to be happy that you're doing that.
Absolutely, and with the campaign objective lead generation, you now can build a list within Facebook. So the opt-in page um, pops up within Facebook, so people don't have to leave the Facebook platform in order to submit their name and email. So it's something that again didn't exist a few years ago when I started. Building a list was not that easy because you always had to take people outside the platform every time you wanted to get to capture their name and email. And now you can do that within the Facebook platform. So yeah, things have changed a lot, but I think they've changed for the best, and it's become easier and easier for marketers like us. I mean, Facebook is working more for the marketers than they are for their users
Mm.
when you think about it. I mean, they make more changes to facilitate marketers than they are to facilitate their users.
But the users don't tend to notice that, which is funny. Yeah, they think, oh, all these new features are coming out, whereas it's really like, oh, cool. Now we can, boost our live streams after we've done them, or yeah, we can do all these other cool, powerful things to, create good content for the users in turn. I want to just start winding up and getting a bit of an insight into, I guess, you and your day-to-day routines and things like that. What would you say your best habit is that helps you towards the success that you've had in business, and what's your worst habit that maybe hold you back a little bit?
I think that keeping I do a few things. I mean, there's not only just one element. I do a few things. I write my goals in a journal, so I do that religiously, and I look at them religiously, and to remind myself of what I'm doing when really sometimes I feel like not doing anything. So I do that, and I also in terms of time management, I what I do, like what anyone productive would do, is write my to-do list for the day, and I put the things that are the most time-consuming and difficult tasks at the beginning of the day when I've got the most energy, and then I do some brain dead jobs at the end of the day, so I know that I get everything done. So that's pretty much what a habit that I've adopted that works really well for me. So I can be very very productive because I get things done really fast thanks to my list. And that's one thing. One thing I do. I think something that I don't do, but I'm working on improving is delegating. I always had trouble delegating. I always, for some reason, found it easier for me to do something rather than sit down and explain to someone else how to do it. So it's something I've been struggling with because I'm still doing tasks that I shouldn't really be doing myself. So I'm working on that. I guess that would be my number one
Yeah.
sabotage thing.
It's an interesting one, the delegation thing, because I think a lot of the time we're like, is this going to be a long term repeatable task, or should I just do it to get it out of the way, whereas you probably should be still delegating, and it's easier said than done. But you've got all the stuff that you're like, oh, and I a good friend of mine said to me, if someone can do it 80% as good as you, it's good enough. And then you can improve them. You can improve them after that. But if you can just hand it over to them, a task to someone, and they can do it 80% as good as you, nearly straight off the bat, or with some instruction, then get rid of it. Which is, again, it's I probably sit in that boat as well. But I think I probably have too many bad habits, because all my guests, I tend to be able to relate to them. With your day, you talked about your journaling and your plan. What does a normal day look like for you? Is it quite different each day?
It depends. It depends. I mean, when I'm at the office, I basically the first thing. I mean, we live in the office. The top floor is where we live, and the bottom floor is where we work. I think the first thing I do during weekdays is I exercise first thing in the morning, get that out of the way, and so I feel full of energy. So exercise is definitely something I do first thing in the morning, and then of course I do my day-to-day task, whatever's on the list, whether it's putting a campaign together, writing a blog post, answering emails, or whatever that is. And then usually in the evenings, I'll usually spend a few hours reading newsletters, other blogs, watching other people's videos, just to be up to date with what's happening in the digital marketing world, I guess, because things change all the time. So I keep an eye out for changes by reading newsletters and articles online. So I spend a lot of time doing that at the end of the day, and I travel a lot for speaking engagements. So yeah, the days don't look the same when I'm traveling. Unfortunately, it all depends on which country I'm speaking in.
Sounds like not too bad a thing to have, though. Final question. I love just getting a resource that's had a big impact on you. So a book ideally that has had a big impact on you that you think might help other young entrepreneurs out there that are on their journey.
Well, the first two books I started reading that had a huge impact that I still carry the values shared in the book, of course, was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. It just gave me an understanding of how wealth works and what makes someone rich and not rich, and what's the difference between assets and liabilities, and which I didn't know. I mean, I still thought that the house you live in was an asset. I had a huge paradigm shift when he said, no, you're actually an asset, it's a liability. So that was a very interesting book. I understood money and how money works and what makes someone wealthy or poor, etc. And then another book that I read was Think and Grow Rich, and I know it's a classic book and probably most people have read it. But at the time, the whole concept of mindset and programming your mind for wealth and prosperity was completely foreign to me. It was the first book that I had ever read about something like that. And at the time, even the movie The Secret hadn't even come out. So it was quite underground, I guess. I mean, that the movie The Secret kind of made that book, I think, a bit more popular because the idea was the same, the concept was the same. So when I first read Think and Grow Rich, it was not a lot of people that I knew had read it, and the concept felt really new to me.
Yep.
And so it's really shaped how I think or how I feel about certain circumstances.
Yeah, I think those are both brilliant recommendations, because people don't really understand that the mindset into the entrepreneurial journey, whether it's the money mindset or the prosperity, or coming from a place of abundance, and those sorts of things have a huge impact in your future success. And that doesn't just mean monetary success or business success or impact or anything. It's kind of every aspect of your life has a huge impact when you start tackling those. You can have all the tactics and the tricks and the secrets and everything under the sun, but without the right mindset or the ability to implement and understand where you're going, it's a lot harder of a journey. And you'll probably end up learning the same things at the end of it. So highly recommend those. We'll link them at passiveincomeyoung.com. Look, Corinna, I just want to
thank you so much for your time and welcome you to the Youngpreneurs family. If people want to find out more about what you're doing, or keep up to date with you, where can they go and what can they do?
Sure. Well, that is our Facebook page, so facebook.com/social media worldwide. There's our YouTube channel where every week we upload a new training, a social media training. So that's youtube.com/social media worldwide. Or there's the website, of course, there's a contact form. People can email us or call us, and it's socialmediaworldwide.com.
Awesome. We'll link all of that on the show notes at passiveincomeyoung.com. Corinna, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure our listeners have got a huge amount of learnings from you. I look forward to keeping in touch and following your journey well into the future.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. This was proudly brought to you by the Podcast Institute, the #1 training resource to take your business from chasing leads to leads chasing you, and from an absolute amateur to a full-blown authority. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, then a podcast is the obvious answer. You can get national and global exposure in a very fast time, and it's just exactly what I've done with this podcast. So if you want to find out more, get a checklist on how you can get started for under $60, and to find out more through a small training video that I've prepared for you all, then please check out passiveincomeyoung.com/podcast training.